Hi, everyone. As he said, I'm Jennifer Boyle, CEO of Satori Resources, and we have one asset. It is the past-producing Tartan Lake gold mine in Flin Flon, Manitoba. Whoops. Well, there's the location. But what I really want to do is, what I don't have in this PowerPoint presentation is something I think is really important, that John Kaiser was asked by a publication to talk about the top 5 drill holes in 2021. And in that publication, he announced that Jennifer Boyle slid in there at the 11th hour by a hair of her chinny chin chin, coming at hole number 5. Somebody asked me, in 5th place as one of the top 5 companies that had the best drill holes in 2021. Somebody asked me, well, who are the other 4? And I said, I don't care. I was number 5. I'm happy with that. So we've been drilling some really high grade holes in a past producing mine. So the Tartan Lake mine, located in Flin Flon, Manitoba, has a resource on it, about 270,000 ounces. It produced between 86 and 89. The mine shut in 89, not because it ran out of ore, but because the price of gold fell below $400. So the company, or the asset, ever since then has been with prior operators that had other key projects that where resources were allocated to. So this is an asset that has more or less sat dormant for the last 32 years. We went in at the end of 2020 when the gold market turned around and did a reinterpretation of all the historic data and came up with new interpretations, drilled 12 holes in 2021 and hit on all 12, except for one which was lost in the ground, but I still call that a win. So I'll just quickly go through the slides. That's really the overview of this asset. The key takeaways is past producing mine, gold only in a VMS camp, Flin Flon, Manitoba. It's not to say that we don't have copper zinc on the project. It's just never been explored. So you can see where we are here we're in Flin Flon, Manitoba, along the border between Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Right now, there's about 99 million shares out. We're trading at about 13 cents, have about a $12 million market cap. But I think what's important to take away from this slide is Wes Hansen is our technical director. He worked underground at the mine when it operated between 86 and 89. And so did Jeff Stibbard from JDS. Both are involved with the project. So fast forward 30 years later, these guys are about 60 years old. They worked at the project when it operated. They have brought a wealth of knowledge to the new interpretation of this project. And it is showing. This slide is normally the last slide that people have, but I put it up front because, again, it's introducing the project, which has essentially been overlooked for the past 3 decades, primarily because it has been the B asset in any other prior operator. With us, it is our only asset. It's the A asset. And new team, new funding, new eyes, new interpretation, new drilling in 2021 has been hitting very high grade and looking at resource expansion. So we are one of the few companies that can say that we're on a dual track. Exploration is very key. That's where almost all of the resources are allocated. However, we are in permitting evaluation mode as well. There's not a lot of companies that can say that. When I talk about the infrastructure, yes, there's above ground infrastructure, but more importantly, it really is road access, drive right up to the project, Manitoba hydro grid power right to the site, tailings pond facilities, but more importantly, we have significant underground development, which is going to fast track this project in order if the exploration continues to prove out positively. We've got really good recoveries, 94.6% recoveries. We have an existing resource, 270,000 ounces. I'll demonstrate quickly how we can mentally jump to 500,000 ounces and then get to that the million ounces that pretty much everybody's looking for. So this is our underground infrastructure. This is the main zone and the south zone. You can see that there's 6 levels of decline underground. You can also see that they left the gold in place. That is part of the resource. Main zone and south zone, 2 parallel plunges about 75 meters apart from one another. We are drilling below both of these and hitting very high grades below, which evidences that the mineralization does extend at depth. 3 areas that we're focusing on. As I said, expanding the existing resource, main zone and south zone. But we also drilled one hole that hit about 47 grams over 5.8 meters right beside the main zone in the hanging wall. So we call this the hanging wall zone. We have to go back to that area this year and develop on that. The other thing that we did in 2022 is we went 1 kilometer away and drilled 7 holes in a target, in a remote target 1 kilometer away from the existing mine site and development. We are waiting for assays back from that program. So you can see this is just some of the high grade. This is a slide talks about how our 2021 program and the results that we got back from that are very consistent with the historical grades. Historically, this project had 500 holes in it. We drilled 12 holes in 2021, hit on all of them, hit high grade, hit grade consistent with the historic grades. This is the down plunge of the main zone. You can see that most of the resource stopped at about 500 meters. We went down to 750. So how do I get from 270,000 ounces to 500,000 ounces? Well, we fill in the infill here where the red circle is. That's the mental jump to the 500,000 ounces. And secondly, in the top picture is more the traditional quartz carbonate core. However, you can see how different the hanging wall zone was. That was the 47 grams that we drilled in 2021. You can see that they're very different. So there's lots of follow-up to do in the hanging wall zone, which that's the one that came in at about 47 grams. This is the south zone located adjacent to the main zone. In 2021, we hit the highest grade holes ever drilled on the project at the south zone. The south zone historically has been more or less labeled the little sister. It's proving not to be that. And in 2022, we drilled 3 holes down plunge at depth to determine the direction of the plunge. We are still waiting for assays back from those, and we are hopeful that they'll come back very consistent with what we experienced in 2021. This is the last slide. It really shows how big the property is. The star is the mine site area where the main zone and south zone exist. You can see that we stepped out to the McFadden zone. I don't know if there's a pointer on here, so notwithstanding that, you can see that it's about 1 kilometer to the east, a little bit south, McFadden zone. 7 holes there. In the event that those holes come back positive, it will evidence widespread mineralization across this property. We are also in a high-grade VMS camp, which I had said before. In fact, Wikipedia says that it is the most prolific VMS camp in the world. You heard it on Wikipedia. And that is because of the high-grade VMS deposits in the region. So we have 2 large regional folds going across our property. And we have mapped these, and they look very similar to main zone. And we are hopeful that we will continue to expand the resource on a very large property package that has been overlooked and underexplored for 30 years. That's it.